The version of Matthew account describes the visit of the Magi. This is from Wikipedia, a very scholarly source. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea during the time of King Herod, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem and asked, "Where's the one who's been born King of the Jews?" Names, traditions, blah, blah, blah. They've been commonly known since the 8th century as Caspar, Melchior, and Balthazar. These derive from the early 6th century Greek manuscript in Alexandria. For fun, to another version, in contrast to the Syrian Christians named the Magi Lavarnandad, Gushnapsapa, and Hormizdas.
Can you repeat that, please?
These names have a far greater likelihood of being originally Persian and not marketable. How I like to work a process. There are 3 parts of the body, sort of mental, emotional, and physical. Tablework is where we start. This is the next week. I expect us all to be a little bit mental, heavily mental, thinking things through, making choices. I also expect this to be the part of the rehearsal process where it's okay for you to make a comment about his character or to make questions, where people aren't quite yet defensive about their thing and say, "No, he would never do that." You know, the first 2 days of table work are a little bit of an open collaboration of, you know, if you don't like what someone says, just nod and smile, you know, whatever. But I want it to feel open and participatory. But then we'll get into a physical state where we're getting things into blocking, and then thirdly, sort of an emotional state where it's reactive and we sort of have the muscle memory. But that's sort of how we're mapping it out. The company getting on the same page. Do you ever go to... This happens a lot in classical work, where there's 2 actors on stage and one, "Well, I learned Shakespeare like this, and I'm going to do my thing and concentrate on the lilt of my voice, and you're going to do your thing when it's your turn, and we're going to wait for each other," you know. But nobody, you can tell they're not existing in the same space. Yeah. They each have a monologue, and they memorized it at home in their bathroom or whatever, and they're not acting in a common space. And when they talk about, when everyone refers to the cornfield, they're referring to like 3, you can tell yourself imagining like 3 different cornfields. And it's a big deal in the style with which 1111 works, of the texture of the world feeling very common and feeling very real.
I like this figurine because he's got a fat face like me, so I just kind of went with that. He's kind of looking like pretty happy about life. So I felt like it was a good depiction.
And then
some statues. I like those ones because they look like thieves. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, they look a little bit more ragtag than like some of the more like knightly, like, you know, rich dudes. They're made of stone.
Yeah, that's from
Barcelona. Campbell in the Xena Warrior Princess episode. And I put that in there because I think he's pretty badass. He had an apple in that, and that reminded me of him, so I just kind of threw that. And that's some frankincense and myrrh. I didn't know what the fuck it looked like, so I thought it was pretty wild.
I didn't either.
It looks like raisins. It made me hungry. The Jaffa Gate in Jerusalem. I like the texture of the landscape there. Below that is some camel shit, which I refer to in one of the lines. And I thought it would be a lot bigger, like horse turds.
Did you Google camel shit?
Yeah. And there's the camel that shat it. And below that disgusting camel was actually a leopard's foot, which is really gross.
Oh my God! All of these words sort of plucked from people talking these images are hugely important, and I'd like if it's okay for you to leave these images with Luis, whatever you guys do, if you have any kind of physical copy, so that we can commonly even... Awesome. We have something that we're commonly referring to. What's the coolest part of, particularly a new play, no one has ever played these parts before. No one has ever produced this play. You're it. It's it. And the world that we're creating has never been created before. And that's the most exciting thing about the entire process, I think, is creating a world. And every piece that you guys bring in adds a layer to it and adds something to it. It's very, the improv rule of yes and. Say yes, and we also have camel shit in our world, you know. It makes texture. There's something about getting it in your body and your muscle memory and the feeling of the senses. His image of camel shit should never leave your nostrils. And when I say what it's mental, you're thinking about it now. That when you step on the stage, you're thinking camel shit. But camel shit will soon be reflexive for you, if that makes sense, and you're not thinking about it. But it's something, we will not have camel shit on the stage. Maybe we will. That'd be great, actually. But it will be there. And it will be there in a way that our audience will never be able to articulate, hey, I think there was camel shit, but I just felt like there was a chair there, and it was only a chair, but I felt like I was at a bazaar. You know, it's the beauty of the world we're creating.